up our system. Now, I love the idea of what our founding fathers proposed, um, but when you look at the history of it all, um, what was said and what was suggested versus what happened, that's when you know that the voting is very necessary. If you think about Juneteenth, right? And I'm not skipping ahead, but I just want to say, you think about Juneteenth, like we were excited to hear about that, but it was 2 years after Lincoln had, declared that we would be freed. So voting is absolutely important. And, as we, companies like Cisco staring in the face of like things like voter suppression by giving your employees a day to vote, on election day is an incredible gesture. It just shows what side you're on. And I'd love to get to a place where we have no sides. But, that's not how our country is set up. It's set up for us to sort of choose a side. I would just love for us to all, when we say unity, that means there are no sides. That means there's just one. And it's companies like yours and you all that you guys are leading the charge. I think it should be a national holiday, and companies should follow suit. And again, we need people like you, Mr. Chuck, to help, foster these decisions.
Well, I have a great team around me who have we've all obviously come to realize very quickly that this is super important. And both of these holidays, both Juneteenth and the opportunity for people to vote. So it was not a very difficult decision for us, but I do appreciate it. And we really appreciate everything that you've been doing. I know we met through Global Citizen, I think, the first time, and so there's a broad array of work that you have been doing for social justice, for just solving some of the world's biggest problems. Can you just talk about sort of how you feel about the things going on? What stirs you so much to get involved with Global Citizen and all the other efforts that you have going around the world?
Well, first of all, I think Hugh Evans, founder, and the idea that he has for Global Citizens is it's important. It's like the unification of like people. It gives us a way to fellowship and gives us a platform to talk about the world's biggest issues. When you think about it, we're so divided. And most of it is because, a lot of us are unread. And unfortunately, there's a lot of technology that continues to take advantage of people's fears and feeds into that divisiveness. And sure, there's a lot of money that's made, in fear, right? But how much more money could be made with love, and so much more money that could be made with consideration? And I feel like what Global Citizens was able to do is to shine a light on that. And, again, organizations like yours raised a hand and said, what, we get it, we understand, and we want to get involved. And, when I think about the plight of just my people, what we have gone through around the world, not just in America, it's like if without organizations like Global Citizen, pushing to unify people, and again, we're going to continue to be divided and, subject to systems that are divisive.
Well, you made a good point about how technology, some of the tech is leveraging fear, and there's money being made off leveraging fear. We're at a point, I think, around the world where technology has so much power to do good, and those are the kinds of things that we're super focused on. And we enjoy our work with Global Citizen, and we admire Hugh and the rest of the team and all of you for everything you've done. Let's talk a little bit about, you've been part of Beyonce's new album, Black is King. You got a new collaboration with Adidas, slide sandals, otherwear, reusable utensil sets. I mean, you've been very busy. What else have you been doing? You been doing anything fun during this time? Learned anything new while you've been somewhat sheltered, or what's kept you busy other than all of your philanthropic efforts?
Man, first and foremost, like my love and respect and my privilege to serve a God that you know, loves everybody. That's like my number one fuel. My family is second. And I love my work. My work is just to be creative, and I've been blessed to have many different platforms and disciplines that I can work in, you know, from, you know, music to apparel, footwear, and some of the design things that you've mentioned. And so I've been incredibly busy, but at the same time, my heart has just hurt because I'm watching this, man. I'm watching this thing really swallow our country. And when you first asked me how I was doing, I said, man, grateful despite all that's going on, because it's hard. It is so hard to just say, okay, me and my family, we're okay. But there's so many people who look like me, people who don't look like me, who are just all suffering because they're just not understanding how severe this situation is. You know, I said a long time ago that this was not going to end, because just like you guys in your business, you bet on human nature. I bet on the same thing. I'm looking at it. You know, you're not going to. Things are not just going to be solved because we know that that's the right thing. There's so many differences of opinions, and again, without the unity and without groups like yours to bring people together, it's just hard to watch. You know, I mean, I know you asked me one question and then veered to another, but it's just I just can't help but express to this incredible, powerful group of people here who are incredibly influential in the market, to just know that you have the ability to change minds, to elevate people's perspectives, and to save this situation. I don't think that I don't care who's in the White House. It's not about that. It's about us. It's about our attitudes. And when I get excited about doing something, it's that. It's about reminding people that we have the power. We have done this to ourselves, and we can fix this. And no matter how heavy this situation is, you got to remember, man, there's a God. And as heavy as this is on the earth right now, the earth is still rotating 1,000 miles per hour. And as heavy as that is, for whatever reason, God still makes sure that our planet Earth travels 55,000 miles per hour around our solar system. And this is just one out of trillions. What can't we do? That excites me more than anything.
So you are, by the way, we should have you on every week because you're just optimistic. You just make us all feel better. We're thrilled you're here. I know that obviously your optimism probably had something to do with this incredible song you had back 6-7 years ago, "Happy," and I think we all recently relived the moments where Congressman John Lewis was dancing to that, and I think you put it out on Twitter, the video of him dancing, which was just fantastic. I mean, what that had to mean so much to you to see this incredible civil rights icon who says what he's dancing, this is my song, right? I mean, that had to be amazing, huh? How did that make you feel?
I mean, you know, I've always been honored. I've always considered that song a gift to me just as much as it was to anyone else, and that's because I was charged to write that song because of the Despicable Me project. It was the second time around, and I would have never written that song for myself. I think what I would have written for myself would have probably been much more complicated, and you know, you would have needed like a secret code to just understand the lyrics. But it needed to be for kids. And Gru, if anyone knows the characters, Gru was like a really mean person, and we had such a good time, you know, painting this picture of how this deadpan, you know, grandpa attitude guy who's never happy about anything. And then the second edition comes around, and they're like, oh yeah, by the way, Gru has fallen in love, and I'm like, well, how do we do that? And that whole thing just took me through this whole like trip to try to figure out song after song after song, and bombing because nothing worked. But how to make a song that would match this guy being happy for once. And so when we finally figured it out, it was like, okay, I had written a song for someone else, for CeeLo Green actually, and his management kind of got in the way of it, and so that didn't work out. And so the labels, Chris Melodondri, the guy from Illumination Pictures, Motion Pictures, he said, well, we'll just have you stay on that. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I never intended for this to be for me. So when the song took off and became what it was, like, I wept often because I was like, God, how did this end up being me? I'm a producer. I don't know if you guys know my career, but like, Chad Hugo and I, we're the Neptunes, we always stood next to Justin Timberlake or stood next to Jay-Z or stood next to Beyonce. I'm never about me. I'm like, what am I going to do? So to see Congressman Lewis, this man that was a huge part of, the Student Nonviolent Coordination Committee for SNCC, who was there up until they voted him out, and he became a congressman at a very young age. All that long life that he lived, that ended up being his favorite song. Of course, it was just like incredibly humbling. The humility crushed me. It was so strong. It's like, I'm honored. Like, that guy's helped to change everything. And the funny thing is, he lived his life for the decision that Cisco made, which is to make, Election Day a paid day. Mm-hmm. And things like Juneteenth. I'm honored to answer your question, but I wanted to give you guys that.
That's fantastic. Pharrell, I think the thing that makes great leaders right now is humility. And
yes,
the ability to lead, but maintaining humility. And with all the success that you have had, to see the humility that you still maintain is very impressive. And we appreciate you being here. Unless you want to sing for us, I guess we'll let you go. But those eyes rolling in.
yeah. There's better people for that.
Well, we appreciate you joining us today. We thank you for all you're doing. We're proud to do our small part to help you out, and we'll continue to work with you in the future with Global Citizen. I look forward to seeing you again when we get to the other side of this thing. So thanks for being with us.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Can I just add one little thing?
Yeah, you can add whatever you want. You're Pharrell Williams.
No. So I do want to touch the Juneteenth thing, and I want to touch it because, like, while I'm glad that you guys made that decision, I just want to be clear with everybody. We love 4th of July. 4th of July is, man, what better colors than red, white, blue, right? We love 4th of July. It's like, I love cookout food more than anyone, probably more than anybody on this platform. It's my favorite thing. But it's very important to understand, not just for Juneteenth's sake, is that, that day was for our white brothers. It wasn't even for our white sisters. Our white sisters couldn't vote. They didn't really have a voice then, right? And, recognizing the day of emancipation for enslaved people is really important. But this isn't the only holiday we should be thinking about. We got to also think about our women, not just black women, not just white women, but women, period. We would not be here on this planet if it weren't for women. I think millennials and Gen Zers and women and advocates and allies that are men for this cause are going to be the ones that not only change America, but like change the world. Like, we need that. And so I want to say I'm thankful to the Cisco group for making Juneteenth a paid holiday, but I want you to also consider there are other people, there are more plights than just ours. Yeah. And it's super important. So I just want to say thank you.
You're so right. We have employee resource groups that represent different, groups of people inside of our company. And we recently, my leadership team recently spent time with all of the leaders of those groups. And it was amazing to see how they wanted to make sure that their group didn't get priority over the other groups, that everyone got the same level of attention and focus. And so I think what you say is so true. And Pharrell, we'll have you back on July 4th, okay? And
hey, that's we'll have me back on your
cookout pictures.
That'd be fun. Have me back on your Women's Day, though. On the day that we make sure that all of our women are being paid the same.
Well, we actually have done that already, but okay. We'll have you back anytime you want to come. All right.
Cool. Thank you. You guys have a blessed day.
Thank you. We'll see you next time. See you soon.
Okay.
Virtual bye.